Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast Live, Sunday morning edition. Yes. And as you can see, we are all NBA this morning because clearly there's a lot going on in the world of the NBA. We're right in the middle of the NBA playoffs. The first round ended last night, and well, man, it was a hell of a first round, and we're going to talk about some of that stuff. We're going to discuss some of that stuff today on our episode. But before we get going, you know what time it is. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept aware anytime we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you enjoy the content as you listen, make sure you give us a like, a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us, and write it down, put it in your phones, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the podcast and you want to help the show continue to grow, make sure you go ahead, click that join button, join the channel. We're going to have some exclusive content just for you. Just for you. And we got out some what I thought was a pretty good exclusive show the other day. Good morning, Laker Nation, Be Ready Sports Podcast. By the way, let me say this first. Let me shout out my members. Laker Nation, host of the Be Ready Sports Podcast. Listen, y'all, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe to that show. Check it out. It's really good. I got a chance to catch up this morning on the show last night with Jayson Velez. Man, great show. That young fella, he's got a lot of promise, man. Love what you're doing over there, Laker Nation, on the Be Ready Sports Podcast. You guys keep it going, man. Give Carlos my shout out. All right. Also, want to shout out Chief Sid Bubba. Appreciate you. It's not that serious. Appreciate you. Baltimore Bruce, what's good, my brother? How are you? Appreciate you as well. So thank you to the members. And again, if you're interested in checking out that members content, man, that members only stuff, make sure you become a member of the channel because we got some good stuff going on here. Like and subscribe to the show. Make sure you share it out to other people you know because I know that you talk sports with a bunch of people. So make sure you're sharing the show out, man. But everybody who's here, thank you. So Sunday morning, man, we've got quick hits today. Quick hits, we're going to talk about Craig Hodges and an interesting story he had. We're going to talk about the exact thing that I said would happen in Los Angeles. We're going to get to that. And we are going to talk about James Harden, one of the most overrated players in NBA history. We are going to talk about that. Good morning, Chief. Good to see you. Shout out to the boys from Annapolis. Anchors away. All right. In the main topics, as you see here on the rundown, we're going to talk about this was something interesting that Bruce from Baltimore, shout out Bruce, we were discussing very briefly in the chat the other day, and I thought it would make an interesting topic on who's the better New York Knick, Carmelo Anthony, Jalen Brunson. I think that's definitely worth discussing. Then we're going to talk about just the total letdown of a Game 7 last night, Clippers versus the Nuggets. I couldn't believe we saw what we saw. The main topic of the day, we're going to talk about Jayson Tatum and well, is he changing minds of the NBA world? Is he changing minds? We're hearing a lot of people who are really, stepping up for him in terms of what he's doing on the court and what his position should be in terms of the NBA hierarchy. And finally, we're gonna show love. We're gonna show some love to one of the greatest head coaches of all time, and I am going to give an unpopular opinion about Coach Greg Popovich. All right. Oh, wow. There you go. Okay. Shout out. Baltimore Blast is an indoor soccer team that has 10 championships. Okay. Got to find out what league they play in. Got you. But yeah, so we definitely got some good topics to get into, man. But I guess we're going to go ahead, y'all, and we are going to get started with our quick hits. And let's get it. So the first quick hit I thought was kind of crazy. So if you guys watch or listen to the All the Smoke podcast with Steven Jackson and man, how did I forget his partner's name? Matt. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot his name. But Steven Jackson is one of the co-hosts of the All the Smoke podcast, and I totally forgot the other host's name, and I feel so embarrassed that I did. But really good podcast. They talk a lot of hoops, and they had what's my guy's name? Craig Hodges on there recently, this week on the most recent episode. G, what's going on, my brother? Good morning.
Hey man, good morning.
How are you, man? How you doing?
Yeah, man, struggling, but
Matt Barnes. Thank you, Chief. Matt Barnes. So yeah, recently Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson on the All the Smoke podcast, most recent episode, they hosted former Chicago Bull and NBA champion Craig Hodges. And he told what I thought was a very interesting story about who most people think is the GOAT, greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. So we're going to share that story with you briefly. And was it about a minute long? And then we'll give our thoughts on it for the quick hit, because I definitely made sure I wanted to make sure that I said something about this that might surprise you. But let's check it out.
Talk to me about the one time you guys were finishing up the season against Miami,
Right.
and you were going to see them in the first round of the playoffs.
Exactly. We playing in Miami. We rolling at this time. The system is really playing for itself, and that's the cool part about the system. Once you get into it, you just come to games, man. You done did it so much, and it flows. So we go to shoot around, and we're leaving shoot around, and we're on the bus, and MJ like, man, drop me off here, and drop him off at the bar. He say he gonna have some beers. Right?
Huh?
Say he's gonna have some
Listen
beers.
to the rest of this story.
Okay,
bro.
go have some beers. So he tell us to pick him up on the way back to the game. We pick him up. He still got his sweats on. You know MJ come to game suited and booted. All right, still got his sweats on. Pick us up. He get on the bus. Yeah, man, I'm feeling good. Right, bubbly. You smell the beer on him. Got 30 at half. All right. Going through warm-ups, man, I'm seeing 3 rims. I'm gonna shoot at the one in the middle. Okay.
That's hard.
Okay. And then told us, if y'all can't beat them, we don't need to win a championship. Y'all could beat them without me. But came in there and he got it done early and wouldn't sit down. Okay.
Fresh off
Sit down.
Wouldn't sit down.
So that's crazy, man. So G, first I want to get your thoughts on that story before I kind of give my commentary on it.
I thought it just spoke to the era in which those guys played in. It's not common for people not to. Well, I done seen some folks do some strange things.
Yeah.
Under the influence during games. But you know that I think that's like the first story. We always hear about the things that happen the night before games or like after games, but never like stopping right before the game and getting tanked and then going in, putting in work and then just I don't know, man. Like I don't know. He was hydrated.
Was he hydrated? I thought alcohol dehydrates you. I don't know.
I don't know if this me, but I think I'm lagging.
No, it seems like you're on point here. That's weird. That might be on your end. But while you take a look at that, I'll say this, right? So first, as you mentioned, you've seen people do crazy stuff before games. So this is funny that you say that, because I remember when I was away in junior college, this is years and years. This is back in like 96, 97, 98, right? Yeah, 96 through 98. And they had this cat from Brooklyn. I think his name was Ricky Ford. I think that was his name. And he could ball. He was a guard. He played basketball at the school. And I remember one night, this dude came in and he was so high, smoked out, come in the gym with some jean shorts and Timberlands on. This is Saturday night. We're in the middle of nowhere. You know, a lot of these college towns in the middle of nowhere. And we're in the middle of nowhere. So what we used to do was they had locked the gym up, but we'd leave the bathroom window open. We'd lift up this kid named Ladson. You know, you put your hand down and they step in your hand and, you know, you lift them up. So he'd go through, squeeze through the bathroom window, go around, open up the door, and then we'd be in there hooping all night, right? Better that than getting in any real trouble, right? So anyway, in comes Ricky Ford. Ricky Ford, high as hell, rocking Timbs and some jean shorts, got on the court and started killing. I have no idea. Like, he looked like he was moving totally in slow motion, but he was doing the work though. So I was like, I don't know. Okay, G will be right back, y'all. Anyway, so we have seen people under the influence get busy. So that is kind of wild. So anyway, I say all that to say that we've seen that. So that's my first comment. My second comment is, y'all know I don't drink. I don't advocate consumption of alcohol under any case. I don't There's nothing good that comes from it. If you know me personally, you'll know that's one of my credos is that nothing good comes from the consumption of alcohol. But this is America, and if people want to do that, they do that. But my point is, I didn't like the fact that he, left the team, stopped off at the bar, got buzzed or drunk or whatever you want to call it, and then came back smelling like alcohol. Like, one, I think that's super unprofessional. So I didn't like it at all, despite how good he is. And two, this is the bigger point. The bigger point to me is that had LeBron done that, I would have really got on him about his being unprofessional. And realistically, not just LeBron, but anybody else. So if I'm gonna get on them about it, I got to get on Mike. And I didn't like that story at all, man. Because again, you know, like Mike, right? If I could be like Mike, sometimes I dream that he is me, not me, but I'm singing the little jingle. And, so many kids looking up to him now. I'm sure the kids didn't know that he was doing that, but it's the general premise of what would have happened if maybe somebody did see him coming out of the bar, on the way to the game or whatever. Like, I think it's just not cool and it's unprofessional. Now, he was good enough and put in enough work that he could overcome that. Just I would assume from the muscle memory of being that great, but I didn't respect it at all. And like I said, if I would get on anybody else for making a move like that, I got to get on him too. And he's not getting a pass from me, even though, I'm nobody, but he's not going to get a pass from me just because he's Michael Jordan. I don't respect that. Your thoughts on that,
It's
G?
single source. It's single source.
I mean, yes, it's single source, but eyewitness single source. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little different. Like, that's not a report. That's somebody who was there. And that's not like,
Yeah, he didn't necessarily see him drink a beer though.
well, he said they dropped him off at the bar, picked him back up on the way to the game, and he was smelling like alcohol. He didn't see him. And according to him, Mike said, I see 3 rims out there. I'm gonna shoot at the one in the middle. So all that stuff kind of adds up to the drinking, but
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my thought, man. That's my thought. Chief said, Bubba, you're 100% right. The era was different, standards and behaviors were different. And right, I'm just saying, for me personally, because I pride myself on not being hypocritical. So if I would get on LeBron for it, no matter what the era is, or Kobe or whoever else, I got to stand up and say the same for Mike, that I don't respect that. I don't think that was professional. And for him to be who he was and what he was to the game, I didn't think that was cool at all. Yeah, so but yeah, so I just thought that was interesting for the first quick hit. Wanted to share that. All right, second quick hit. Here we go. G, if you remember when the trade happened that brought Luka Legend to the Lakers, I said 2 things. One of them I was proven very wrong, right? I said they're not going to be able to work with LeBron and Luka because I don't believe LeBron can play effectively off ball. He proved me wrong on that. Shout out Bron. Shout out LeBron. He proved me wrong on that because he did. Do you remember the second thing that I said about that trade? What's up, Edward? I put the tips in the thing. No doubt, Edward. But yeah, the second thing I said, the reminder is, when it doesn't work out, Luka will become the scapegoat. I said that, right? So now, this is funny that now we're hearing all these people in the mainstream sports media, they're all blaming Luka. Now, does Luka have some blame in this? Of course, by not being in shape, by not, maximizing himself, by being a lousy defender, of course. But as usual, right? LeBron always wants who he deems is the most talented guy to try and make the team better, right? Okay, cool. But when it doesn't work out, hey, I didn't have nothing to do with that, and then the other guy gets the blame, right? What do you think of that, G?
That's a tough one right there. That would mean I would have to really care enough to like say who point the finger and reason why they lost is because of this. Man, they got spanked.
They did.
And no, it's the thing of the league is still trying to not only control the narrative but stay relevant when they home. The whole LA is at home right now. The, the whole LA is at home, but
Touche.
this is just gonna constantly happen, man. Like you'll constantly hear narratives be thrown around about who was the reason behind behind a loss. I told y'all they was gonna lose first round because they
Shit.
ain't have a coach and they ain't have players. I said it. I said they still gonna be bums. Transform was so mad when I said that, man. The whole chat was going crazy. I was like,
Yeah.
y'all not looking at it from an X and O standpoint, man. Like after they get ran down, they don't have a bench. And you know, to Transformers, he definitely was like, oh yeah, we don't have a bench.
Right.
And moving AD, I don't know if that was a good idea, but we got Luka. Let's rebuild. I think this was one of those things that one of those moves that they know they have to rebuild really soon. And I think this is the first step towards it, right? Like you get your premier superstar, you got your ailing, you know, superstar in LeBron. Uh, man, I don't know, bro. I mean, I had so many things like, well, if you guys were so interested in winning, why would y'all give up a roster spot for Bronny? Like, the level of disrespect that the Lakers has been receiving from not only me but most of the people I know. Like, I talked to my son yesterday. We going back and forth, and the first thing he say is they drink the Kool-Aid, man. Like they believe that like anytime they suit up,
What
they
I
can
said
win
too.
with LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Four is my guy. Four know what he talk about.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's funny.
So I mean, that's just how it is, man.
It is, man. But the funny thing is, we don't see it. Well, we see it, but so many people don't see it every single time. But when I say it, I'm a hater. I say it every time. Somebody's just going to end up being the scapegoat. And it's amazing to me how people act like when you tell these demonstrable truths, you just hating. But I guess it is what it is, man. It's going to be what it's going to be. So, yeah, that's that's the second quick hit. And all right, finally, third quick hit, man. And we're going to talk about this some more in the second segment, man. Obviously, well, we saw what happened to the Clippers last night.
Boots to asses.
It was bad. It was bad. And for me, I think one of the biggest reasons that happened, I mean, don't get me wrong, just a total defensive meltdown. I think the Clippers just rolled over, and we'll get to that later. But one of the biggest reasons it happened to me, and let me ask you this, G, what role do you think James Harden played in this? I think he's one of the worst big game performers ever, and he is one of the most overrated players ever. Your thoughts?
Playoff Harden is terrible, man. But if
Mhm.
you ask me why did the Clippers lose the way they did last night, I'd say had a lot to do with Aaron Gordon. What's his name? Aaron
Oh,
Gordon.
go ahead. Mhm.
For yeah, for I mean this guy he
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 does
gave
it all.
them yeah, and not only did he do that, but in key moments where they needed a bucket, he was able to defend
Yeah.
really, really well, and
Mhm.
they had nothing for him.
Mhm.
I think he should have been. I know they don't do this, but MVP of that series, man. Like he really like from the alley oop dunk buzzer beater over Harden to just like anytime they just attack Harden, man. That's pretty much what it was. They just attack Harden. Anyway, he was on the floor. They just went at him. It was too many people were wide open. Did you ask me why they lost? Like the way they
No,
did?
I did, but we'll talk about that during that second.
Okay,
That's
all right. Let me calm
Salam,
down.
Salam, Steve. Good morning, my brother.
But definitely, I like Aaron Gordon and the energy Westbrook brought off the bench. That was crazy.
Yeah, nah, great point. But back to my quick hit is that James Harden, man. I don't care about the 13 assists, although 13 assists are cool. That doesn't mean anything to me. And the reason why James Harden was a minus 29, shot 2 for 8, and had 7 points. Like, we got to stop this. We have to stop this. And here's where I'm going to go with this, right? Since becoming a starter in 2012, 2013, James Harden's numbers in playoff no, let me say this. James Harden's career averages since becoming a starter in 2012, 2013, 28 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 8 assists per game, 44% from the field, 36% from 3, 4 turnovers per game. All right. Now you could scale down the turnovers a little bit, but still solid numbers. People have his regular season performances putting him among the top 10 shooting guards of all time. I don't even know if I could do that, but whatever. Now, those are his regular season numbers. In playoff elimination games in the same time span, His scoring goes down to 22 points per game. Now, most people's scoring goes down in the playoffs, obviously, because the defense is tougher, 7 games, etc. Although Reggie Miller's scoring jumps, Michael Jordan's scoring jumps, there's a few players. Anyway, the point is his scoring, James Harden goes down to 22 points a game, rebounds 5.5, assists 6.5, field goal percentage under 40, 39.9. We can give him 40, but down 4 percentage points. 3-point field goal percentage, 30%. So down more than 6%. Turnovers go up to 5.9 turnovers per game, 2 and 9 in elimination games in his career. This dude does not ever show up when he's supposed to. He doesn't. Plain and simple. He is one of the most overrated players I've ever seen. I never could understand the hype on James Harden. He doesn't show up offensively in these games, right? In these elimination games, as we just saw by the numbers, the drop off. We just saw the winning percentage in those situations, and the fact that we know he does not, cannot, will not, refuses to defend. So all of these are problematic to me. Again, I'll say it. He's one of the most overrated players I've ever seen. Gee, am I crazy in saying he's one of the most overrated players I've ever seen?
Man, nah, James Harden is a stat master, right? Like he's one of
Mhm.
those guys that know how to get the points, know how to get the triple doubles when they need to. But if you look at the eye test, you don't see those things. Still, you don't see a steal that leads to a three or a steal that leads to an assist. The defense doesn't spark the offense when you talk about James Harden.
Mhm.
What you do see is a bunch of step back threes. He go on a whole when he do go to the lane, it's not as impactful as you would think. It's like really, really slow. He's skillful with the step back, and one of those guys that I think changed the travel rule like
I was about
tremendously to fit
to
his
say, yeah,
game. I
right.
mean, to fit his game, he changed the travel rule tremendously. I, I think this is as good as it gets for James Harden. I think
Oh,
from
facts,
here,
facts.
I don't think he gets any better.
He's
He
never
did
gonna.
a good job of getting to where he's at right now, though. It's
Mhm.
just like you said, the playoffs, the year after year, time after time, the playoff drop off. He remind me of like Chris Paul sometimes in the playoffs. Sometimes in the playoff, Chris Paul played really well, then he'd get hurt, or
Mhm.
he won't be a factor at all. So
Yeah,
I just
something
think
always happens.
I, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're talking about a super max guy too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
part that's yeah. He's got really two super max contracts, I think. But
yeah. I
he
think
came
so.
from an era where you really didn't have to play defense.
Hmm. Yeah, like I said, it's just frustrating to me, man. To Edward, no, I'm not putting this loss on James Harden, but the fact is, my bad, y'all. I'm not putting this loss on James Harden, but the fact is more so that he never shows up when you need him most. He's 2 and 9 in elimination games since becoming a starter. There's no getting around that. So I know you want to say, "Oh, last night wasn't his fault," because I know you love caping up for these dudes, but he's just not that guy, plain and simple. Um, Sid Bubba says, "So James Harden and Dame Dash are top 75 players." I don't think either one is a top 75 player. No, I don't think so. But I think that they had to have enough of the modern stars in the top 75 to appease the modern fan. That's my thought on that. But all right, G, you ready to move on to the next topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Oh man, I forgot to upload the videos. Give me
Not
a
too
sec.
bad.
Huh?
Not too bad.
No doubt,
Pretty
no
good
doubt.
quick hits this morning.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. All right, let's go ahead and oh, my bad, my bad. Next topic, first topic, I should say, and this was inspired by Baltimore Bruce. Again, what up, Bruce? Um, Jokic is that. Don't start, Nino. Don't start. Good morning, my brother. But no, this was interesting because with what we have seen recently, and I'll let you kick this off, G, with your thoughts while I get the B-roll together. With what we've seen recently in the last few years from Jalen Brunson, and then obviously what we saw from Carmelo over the years, it now I think creates a very interesting question on who has been the better New York Knick. Obviously, Melo was there a little longer than Jalen Brunson, but who's been the better Knick, man? I'm gonna let you start on this. What do you think?
I think a better topic would be, is LeBron in his prime better than Jokic in his prime? That would be a better that would
Oh,
be a better topic for me. But I'm gonna let Baltimore Bruce live, and we're gonna talk about Melo versus Brunson. I think Brunson is still getting there.
okay.
They both play two entirely different positions on the court. So
Mhm,
it's always going to be Melo. I don't think Brunson did enough. I mean, the stats say one thing, and he does hit some big shots, but
mhm.
it's just a different era, man. Like he had to go. Melo had to go against dogs playing the three.
Uh-huh.
Dogs. There's not a lot of dogs at the point guard position that would tell me that like, oh yeah, Bronson is the better than it. So,
I think
so
that's actually pretty fair. So let's look at some of Carmelo's highlights throughout his Knicks career. Obviously one of the most elite wing players, one of the most elite wing scorers ever. Um, Athletic, could rebound, just one of the best mid-range players we've ever seen. And it kind of sucks for him that his last few years he was in positions where he wasn't getting the same amount of touches and the same amount of shots because it messed up his career averages in terms of I think he ended up averaging 22 points per game for his career, and that should have been higher, right? Because I don't know, Edward. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's Carmelo all day, every day. But um, just looking at him, Melo, man, just his one-on-one skill was so official. And I'll tell you what, quick side note, in cutting this B-roll and watching a lot of the clips, I think it was very interesting because you know, he played in an era where a big part of it was, towards the middle and the end of his career, they wanted teams to shoot way more threes, right? And I know he said when he went to Houston, they were like, you're not going to get mid range, shoot the three. And it's funny because if you watch the clips, there's a lot of mid range shots where, he gets into his rhythm dribble and pulls up, but he pulls up just inside the 3-point line. So it's like, maybe if you would have started your rhythm dribble a little bit deeper, you could have pulled up outside the 3-point line and got an extra, what I'm saying, got an extra point for that. Because you're shooting like 20, 21-foot mid-range jumpers, deep mid-ranges. Well, you could take a step back and get an extra point for it. I don't know. But I think Melo clearly was an absolute problem. Michael Jordan obviously saw Melo as an absolute problem. So you see all of that, and you're like, damn, he was a monster. But I want to say I think they only made it to the second round once or twice with Carmelo. And you look at that and you say, well, did he underachieve, or was it more a function of the Knicks had to give up so much in the trade deal to bring him over from Denver that they couldn't get enough around him? Not really sure, but he definitely was a monster. Let's see. I think I had
they
these numbers.
gave Amari Stoudemire $100 million to do almost nothing, to take wine baths and shit and pose on pictures. He
Well,
didn't do anything.
remember the microfracture surgery, right? So that was a problem. So he ended up with the major knee injuries and was never the same after that. So yeah, I get it. So Melo averaged 28 a game in the playoffs for the Knicks, 8 rebounds, uh, 85% from the stripe. Did not shoot the three well in the playoffs. 30%. Let's give him that, and 40% from the floor. Right now, to your point, yeah, he had to go against Paul George in the East, and during those times, Paul Pierce, uh, obviously LeBron. That was tough. That was tough, no doubt. But still, like he was getting his, but I think maybe Melo is probably the epitome of one of those type of players that does his thing, but on the professional level, like how much did that really help his team in terms of advancing and getting where they need to be? I don't know. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. That's a reach, I think. I'd say you look at a guy, tool set, pause. The first thing you gotta say is this guy's capable of scoring on all levels,
mhm,
with anyone, right? Like regardless of the mismatch. You talked about, the if he would have took a step in and shot the ball, he was going to his spots. One of the best scores we've seen in the league in a long time because he
mhm,
can do it on all levels.
yeah,
But Brunson, I mean, I think this is a good topic because we talking about Knicks, but I don't think Brunson been there long enough
Okay.
to compare to Melo. I mean, yeah, he passed the ball. I saw that in the chat. He passed the ball, but then it's not really going against a lot of premier guards either. So
That's true. That's true. And we gotta take that into account. Competition matters. You're right.
yeah.
What I'll say though, they both so far have 3 seasons in the playoffs with the Knicks, right? So Brunson has 3 playoff seasons with the Knicks. So does Melo. So we'll go to looking at some of Jalen Brunson's B-roll now, and then we'll get to some of his numbers. So what impresses me about Brunson, right? He's not super quick. He's not super athletic, but somehow he always manages to like get to his spots. Like that's another guy who can really get to spots. And let me say this real quick. Obviously, we just saw what he did against the Pistons, and so I was wrong because I picked the Pistons to win that series in 7. I think I just thought that Cade Cunningham and those young boys and the way they're coached would be enough, but Jalen Brunson, he did what he did. The Knicks did what they did, and maybe it's something to do with the Pistons' youth. So they have an opportunity, barring injury, to be a very successful team next year. But this isn't about that. Yeah, you watch Brunson. He looks really strong too. How he can kind of bump and bounce off of contact, and then here, this was the game winner against the Pistons the other night to kind of seal that. That was crazy. And Brunson also, you making that stink face, G. Brunson won Clutch Player of the Year in the NBA this year, which means he's consistently making those kind of shots to put games away. And I think that's impressive. So before I get back to
Never
you,
heard of that award, sir.
I mean, it's an award. Clutch Player.
I never heard of that award, sir. Is that a millennial thing?
They added it a couple years ago when they renamed all the awards and whatnot, when they made Michael Jordan MVP and all those things. I think they added that then. Yeah, so in his 3 playoff series so far with the Knicks, Jalen Brunson has averaged 30 a game, shot 52% from the floor and 32% from 3 with 7 assists per game. Now, he's a point guard, technically, I guess. So the assists are going to be higher. So I don't like hold that against Melo in the discussion, but he's had a lot of moments. I think I want to say I saw this stat the other day that he's like now second to Patrick Ewing in 30-point playoff games for the Knicks. I believe that's the case. So that's something to look at. Again, I get you on competition, but I think Brunson, I don't know. It's a problem. I can't really, like, I've been thinking about this since, I came up with the topic, and I'm like, well, since Bruce sent me that topic, and I'm like, I don't know, man. That's tough. I think they're both animals, but I really don't know. Chat, put it in there. Who you guys think has been the better New York Knicks? Let's say in the playoffs so far. They both have 3 playoff seasons. So between Melo and Brunson, who you think is the better playoff Knick? Yeah, go ahead, G.
Oh, do you think Brunson will be a Hall of Fame?
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Well, everybody's a Hall of Famer in basketball, right? So
No, you can't say that. You can't say that.
you know.
Can't say that. Can't say that.
What's up, Tim Jones? How you doing, man? Hit that like and subscribe. Brunson. Okay. Chief Sid Bubba says Melo so far, but that could change. Okay. I wonder what he was thinking, LeBron or Kobe, when he hit the game winner. Edward, you can't be serious, man. What kind of question is that, man? I'm not, you know what? You can have that. That can't be a real question. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I think that's a tough one. I really I brought up this topic because I thought it was a good discussion piece. I didn't really have an answer to it. I know, no, you guys are expecting me on this show to have an answer to that question, but I really don't know, man. But I think it's going to depend on how far Brunson can take the Knicks in the playoffs. And like, let's say he goes off in this Celtics series, then who knows? But if he goes off in the Celtics series, but they lose, which they will, what does it matter? You know what I'm saying? So, G, you got anything to add before we open up the phone lines on these topics?
No, nothing. I thought this
All
was
right, let's get it. Yeah, guy, man.
this was This was a tough one right here.
I think so too.
Yeah. They played two different positions, two different times in the league, and they just starting to play defense now. But if you
Side
talk to people that played, like most of the All-Stars, they say that Melo was the toughest person to
Paul
check.
Pierce said that. Paul
And
Pierce said Melo was a
yeah,
low
he was
pause.
yeah,
Yeah.
he said out of everybody, Kobe said it too. Out of everybody they had to play against, it was like the way your body felt was crazy. Pause.
Yeah. He said Melo was strong as a bull. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Steve, good morning, man. How you doing?
Good morning. Hey, can y'all hear me? I'm on my headset. I'm driving, so I might not sound as clear.
I can hear you, man. What you got?
All right, good. First up, what's up, Bruce? Good morning to you. Shout out, G. What's happening, brother?
What's going on, bro?
Not much, man. But yeah, I'm in the car. I'm listening. I like this topic. I had a few thoughts.
Yeah.
This one has a lot of context. It's layered. I know it's simple. Who's the better Nick? And I like some of the points G brought up where I think in the East, you don't have the guard play like you did in years prior, where Brunson is probably able to take advantage of that from an individual standpoint. Melo probably had to go against some better wings at the time in the East during his time with the Knicks. In my opinion, if we're talking about an individual, I think anybody with their right mind, like if they're picking somebody on their team first to be on the Knicks, I think everybody would pick Melo.
Yes.
From an individual perspective, it's like, oh, give me Melo. I'll take those 30 points all day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think pound for pound, and as an individual, you would take Carmelo. But it seems like the context of it, like, who's a better Nick? So in my mind, I'm thinking, what translates better to the team? So right now, I think G makes a good point. Brunson may have not been there long enough to say, oh, he's a better Nick than Melo. But I think in the long term, I think Brunson has a very good opportunity to surpass Melo. And this is why I say this, not as an individual, because I still think pound for pound individually, anybody's taking Melo over Brunson. But here's where I would say, the Amari Stoudemire thing is like the asterisk. It's like the catalyst to this equation. We never got to see a fully healthy Phoenix Suns Amari play with Carmelo in New York, so we never know what really could happen. And they had so much money tied up in him. They could never really establish a formidable roster around Melo in New York. But as a team, like for the Knicks, I can understand why some people would argue for Brunson, because they have a better team. That's what this comes down to. I think you're going to have Brunson in the long term have a better Knick career going into the playoffs and a playoff resume than Melo, because long term, New York is building things around Brunson, and they have the ability to. Like, if you look at the Knick roster right now, man, you got Brunson, you got Bridges, you got the cat from they just brought in Cat.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of long-term upside to Brunson's young career with the Knicks as far as a team collective. And if you're talking about, like, who's the better Knick, it's hard to not take the team aspect into the equation, because ultimately Brunson's long-term productivity is going to be because I think he has a better team. But if you put Brunson on Melo's New York Knicks team, I don't think this is going to look the way we see it right now. And if you took Melo and put him on this current New York Knicks team, I think they'd have some success. So I think a lot of the context of this is like what surrounds Brunson, and that prompts him up. And it's nothing against Brunson. You know, I mean, it works out in his favor in the context of this. But individually, I think right now I'd give the slight edge to Melo. But long term, Brunson is eventually going to surpass Melo as a greater Knick, because he's played on better teams. He's got another 8 to 12 years into his career. So I think the long term Brunson. But if we're just talking individual, like, who am I picking? If I was a Knick organization, say we have a draft, anybody in their right mind would take Carmelo over Brunson.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why I specifically framed it as who's the better Knick. But I hear you. But real quick, Steve, before I let you go, man, I don't know that Brunson, this Knicks team is that much better than the Knicks team Carmelo had. Now I'll give you that he's got Cat this year, and the Cat has had a hell of a year. I'm not going to front on that, but other than that, I don't know that he specifically has that superior a team than Carmelo did.
Well, here's what I would say. I agree with you. Like, as far as star power, yeah, he's got Cat on his side. But when you look at the overall depth, when you add a Mikal Bridges and you have who's the Cat they picked up a couple years ago? He plays the 3 for them. I can't remember his name. Josh Hart's there. There's the other guy. Who's the other dude am I thinking of?
Bridges. OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby.
Yes, thank you. Anunoby. Like, when you add that depth of a Josh Hart, Bridges, Anunoby, like, those are 3 quality defenders and guys that can play a role. But at any night, it's like one of them guys can go for 15 to 20 points. And you add that to the idea of having Brunson and Cat. Melo never had that type of depth around him in New York.
Right.
Like, he had 1 year where I believe J.R. Smith won 6th Man of the Year.
Correct.
But outside of that, and they didn't have Corey that season, if I'm not mistaken. And if they did, it was on a very limited role. So it's like, I would say that the team, I would push back and say, I do think Brunson's team, depth-wise and having a guy like Cat, I think it's better than pretty much anything Melo had in New York during his time there. So I think that metric kind of goes into Brunson's favor. Now, it's nothing against Brunson. That's not his fault. Right. You know, he just plays with the guys he's got given around him.
Yeah.
But I do think when we're talking about greatest Knicks, the Knicks are one of those franchises where you get measured by your playoff resume. You know, it's one of those franchises where it's like the playoffs is what really ultimately determines you. It's not like playing in like Atlanta or you know, some of these franchises that don't have such history. So I think when it comes down to it, you're going to look at long-term Melo's playoff resume versus Brunson's playoff resume. And as of right now, I think it's close. I'd give the slight edge right now to Carmelo, but long-term, I think Brunson's going to surpass him just because of a lot of the things around him that Melo may have not had.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the call. I'll be in the chat. Shout out Baltimore, G. I like you repping Melo, man. It's always Baltimore, baby. All right, fellas.
Steve, thanks for the call, man.
Yes, sir. Y'all stay blessed.
You too, man. All right, good call from Steve. All right, we'll wait another 30 seconds, see if we get another call on this one. If not, then we will move on to the I don't even know what to call it. Oh, here we go. All right. You know, what's going on, brother? Good morning.
What's going on, man? Hey, I was just doing the show, man. But hey, this is a good topic for me. And this is a good basketball topic.
Yes, sir.
Because I agree with you. I disagree with Steve, really. I'm a big Melo, a fan of Melo game, right? But to me, I give Brunson the edge based on what you said. Melo's unwillingness to pass the basketball.
I don't know if it's unwillingness, Nino, or him fully understanding the role of being a traditional bucket-getting small forward. I don't know if it's unwillingness, though. Go ahead.
Well, you would say that, but they had a podcast where Shump had a podcast, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And he was talking about how he kept being open in the corner, but instead of Melo passing the ball to him, Melo was taking some type of fadeaway step back. And he asked Melo, hey, man, swing it, I'm open.
Right.
And Melo told him straight up, man, I practiced that shot. So, to me, there's unwillingness to at least get the team involved.
Right.
Because you want to shoot all shots.
I got you. So, do you see it more as...
So, how you use your team is, a lot of it is, like their willingness to try. I know I didn't want to bring him up because he's hot right now. But Jokic was out there yesterday trusting anybody to hit a shot. It's a risk to it. True enough, they gonna hit or miss, but it'll keep the defense more honest, if you ask me.
Okay, I agree with you, Nino. I think that, we see that a lot of times from all-time great players who have that killer, know they have that killer, know that they can't be guarded, and know that they put in the work on these shots. They like, I got this, I could do it. And I'm not advocating for playing that way. I'm just saying that I think there's a lot of guys throughout history who've been that way. So
right, but this not is. But I give. But this where your MJ argument come into play at, right?
mm-hmm.
Because once MJ got in the system, I don't think nobody was able to accuse MJ of ball hogging anymore. Now the big shot, MJ was gonna take that.
Mm-hmm.
But even throughout the flow of the game, if he got double teams or this and that, he would, he could pass the ball off, and he would pass it.
Correct.
And get you hit in the mouth. I seen a lot of shots where Melo was just taking bad shots.
Okay.
I can deny
my 2 cents.
Not like you wanted to, but you didn't.
My 2 cents, and they try to convince you to come over to the other side would be Melo played against some of the premier threes and some probably like way more Hall of Famers than Brunson will see in his career. I just think, when you get into a battle, right? Like you're not counting. He a 30-shot player. You're gonna demand 30 shots a game regardless. And that's at the time when that was at. It was almost like if James Harden had a chip on his shoulder, right? And he played with a chip on his shoulder. He played for points. But if he played against like some of the premier threes or twos, I'm sure we would see a different animal coming out. Melo played like a monster, bro. Like when he suited up, he knew he was going against some of the greatest threes that the league's seen, and he had to play. I mean, did he win all the battles? No. Did he miss shots? A lot of them. But the fact is, it was big ticket entertainment, and everybody wanted to see those matchups. I can't really say the same for Brunson right now. I can't really say like there's people like looking like, oh yeah, it's Brunson versus whoever. I don't see that as often as I did when I was watching Melo and the NBA at that time. So I think it was a matchup thing that was the big draw, and the reason why he had to put on the show. Chuck was a support player at best, and I don't think he put the work in his offense to be where he was, so he can demand shots like that. J.R. Ryder did. J.R. Smith. Sorry, J.R. Smith did.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, that was just my way of trying to get you to come over to this side, bro. That's all. I know he was a Chuck, AK-47 at times. I don't know if I can say that on here, but yeah, he definitely was shoot first. He always had to shoot first. Pass never.
I agree that 1-on-1 is not close. Now 1-on-1 is not a close, but I feel like your willingness to hit the open man is the only. I think that could have took Melo. If Melo knew how to use that, I believe it could have took him to the next level, where he didn't. He could have took a break on offense. He could use it again. Like we knew how dangerous Mike was. Even Kobe in his later years, when Kobe was shooting all the shots, when they called Kobe a ball hog, when he got after Shaq, when he was losing, I think Phil had that talk with him like, hey, this is what Mike did. You gotta trust him a little more.
Yeah.
And when he trusted, when Kobe started trusting the players a little more, even if they hit or miss, you knew he'll throw it.
Yeah.
It opened the game up. So I think Melo just missed that. He just, he said Baltimore in him. Oh, my bad, fellas. All right, Bruce. All right, G.
All right, Nino, man. Thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate you.
All right. Go Steelers.
Yeah, whatever, man. You see how he slipped that in at the end, right? Pause.
Wow.
You heard him, right?
Thanks. It's crazy.
My man doing Go Steelers, man. You better get out of here with that, Nino. We're not doing that here. We're not tolerating that. All right. So let's go ahead and move to the next topic. And what do you have to say about this, G? They say that Game 7 are the two best words in sports. And we expected after this series that's been back and forth and guys have really played, truly expected to see, one of those type of Game 7s. Hopefully expecting to see like what we saw from the Knicks and the Pistons, right? We got nothing of the sort, G. We got an absolute
Boots to asses.
I'm disgusted with what we saw last night from the Clippers, man. I know Ty Lue is disgusted because he's a way better coach than this, but the coach going to get a big piece of the blame for that. Where are you on this, man? What the hell happened?
They just got out muscled. That's the best thing I can say. They got out muscled, man, outplayed. It seemed like that. Then the fact they didn't have their head coach didn't bother them. This game probably wouldn't have went 7 if their head coach was there.
Mm.
But they did. They made necessary adjustments when the Clippers didn't. And I actually was going for the underdogs in the Clippers in this, but I don't think they had enough reps
Okay.
throughout the season as a team. And that showed like during the stretch, they had like nothing for just role player guys was giving them the blues. And just looking at Kawhi, he looked like he was winded out there. He did everything he could possibly do to try to win. It was just, some players came off the bench, man. They ain't had nothing for them. And they bigs got in foul trouble early. So that was another thing. But Aaron Gordon, man, like you just seen people not really trying to defend or not trying to be physical because they was in foul trouble. So if it was a wide open shot, it was almost uncontested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point. I think I was just it was hard for me to follow up on that because I was blown away by how quickly that game ended up being a 30-point spread, right? Now, it ended up being what, 19 at the end? Because the Clippers backups got in and they were still playing, right? They was like, man, we going to compete because we're probably going to get traded after this. So let's put some good tape out there, right? So they weren't out there just running around. They were competing. But, man, so I had the Clippers winning this series for one of the main reasons that you mentioned with the Nuggets coach getting fired. I'm like, okay, there's no way that an interim head coach should be able to outcoach Ty Lue, who's a champion and one of the best coaches in the league, right? But it's Chief Sid Bubba's right, man. The Clippers going to clip. I mean, there's just it seems like there's some franchises that are just cursed, and it would take a Superman to get them over the top. I think they did everything they could in terms of keeping Kawhi Leonard healthy and ready to be able to play in the playoffs. And I think he did all right in the playoffs this season, but I don't know. They need more than that. And I don't know how they're going to get it. I don't know where they're going to get it from because they certainly aren't going to get it for James Harden. And I heard Stephen A. advocating maybe last week for for James Harden based on how he's played this year to get paid again. And I'm like, what? Why? Like, it's not that I don't want dudes to get paid, but for me, your legend is made in the postseason, and that's every sport. And if you can't get that done, you don't deserve the big money, in my humble opinion. You just don't. Like Kawhi came out, and Kawhi averaged 25 in this series, right? 40% from 3, 54% from the floor. Like, okay, Kawhi did what Kawhi was supposed to do, right? He only had one game where he really took over, but he did what he was supposed to do. Where was James Harden? Where was his second guy? You know what I'm saying? Like Zubac played his butt off. He really, defended Jokic as well as he could in this series. Now, I'm not saying that, Jokic still didn't have some games where he got off, but Zubac made it much more difficult on him, got physical with him, really it gave him a tough time again. So I don't know, man. I'm just I don't even like. I don't know, man. The Clippers, they really, and it's not even so much that they lost. These dudes rolled over, plain and simple. They rolled over, and that's disgusting and that's despicable. You're supposed to be competitors. You're supposed to be trying to compete for a championship. Kawhi Leonard is a champion. Like at some point, you need to have somebody that could be a true leader on that team because Kawhi Leonard works. He can be an example in terms of the work that he puts in, but he's not a leader, right? That's a problem. And every great player is not a leader. I understand that. Every great player can't be Ray Lewis, right? So I totally get that. But at some point, they need a leader on that team that can really, that can stand up and say, man, what the hell are we doing? And not say hell, right? What the F are we doing? And really, take charge and grab guys by the neck and lead them out there. And I don't know. James Harden's not it. Kawhi Leonard's not it. Something needs to happen. I really don't get it. I mean, where are you with this, man? I don't know. I'm blown away here. Pause.
That was for Denver. That was a community win. Like everybody played their role in their positions, and I guess the goal was just dominate the opposing person. Right, whoever's on the other side, outplay them. You see them just go moving the spots and getting open. They miss a three, we make a three. If we get offensive rebounds, I forget what plus or minus offensive rebounds, but I'm sure it went to the Nuggets. The eye test don't lie. They definitely got more rebounds than them. Turnovers, right? I saw in the second half they had like 5 turnovers. Nuggets didn't turn the ball over that much that game, but played an important role. Transition routes, going like minutes, like 3 to 4 minutes without scoring a bucket. Like you can't win like that. You can't win.
Right.
And that was the deciding factor, I think. And then you got your energy guys coming off the bench doing what they do, man, continuing to disrupt the game. You start looking at like how difficult it was for James Harden to get to his spots and do things. They gave him what they wanted to give him. I even saw when they triple teamed him, like double teamed him at the last second to disrupt the shot because he take all day long to shoot the ball. So they waited for like 2 to 3 seconds and then double team him.
Yeah.
And that disrupted the shot, messed up a lot of his plays. So they study. You can tell he was watching tape. I know the coach said they don't watch tape. But
right.
You can tell they watched tape today or yesterday. So it was a whipping, man. It was not you did not want to be the LA Clippers, man. You definitely didn't want to be the LA Clippers. But can we really say that like this game was supposed to go to 7? Like when Aaron Gordon dunked the ball to win the game.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about that last week, but those was one of those things. I think that was the straw that broke the camel back because after that game, it was like we already know how to beat them.
Bounced back from that one though. They bounced back from that one.
But they
Had a
knew
big win the following game was that game 6.
They knew how to beat them, and so you beat them over the top, and that's what they did. A lot of times you see you go to Jokic, and then Jokic go to somebody cutting to the basket over the top. Everything was over the top for them, and they couldn't defend the rim the way they wanted to. They had a 7-footer down there, but if he tied up with Jokic, that means nobody else there to slide to help. No help side.
Right.
That's why you see Aaron Gordon. I keep talking about him because I don't remember seeing a player have that many 180 dunks in a game. Like he just
I get it.
It just I don't remember seeing that, man. Like lobs, man, everything was 180. All right, okay.
No, you're right in so much of what you're saying, G. But to me, the frustration is less in what Denver did because they did what they're supposed to do. My frustration was the Clippers rolling over. If they'd have lost competitively, okay, but they rolled over, G. Like we know that Kawhi Leonard is known for being a defender, right? And there was one play, I think in the third quarter, where I knew the Clippers were broken. And Denver comes down, and I think it was Brown maybe, got the ball on the wing for a 3, and Kawhi looked at him and turned around and looked at the rim. He didn't even try to run out and run him off the line. He didn't try to contest. And I'm like, nah. I said, okay, they're broken. They're broken because they didn't, from that point on, like they didn't even compete. And for me, that's the biggest thing. Like you shouldn't be in the playoffs if you're not going to compete. If you get beat by a better team, you get beat by a better team. But to not compete, especially in a game 7 where everything is on the line, I can't rock with that, man. I can't rock with that. Chad B says in the chat, James Harden's been one of the best go-to scorers since 2015. He's still second fiddle, similar to Jaylen Brown. So here's the deal. James Harden has been one of the best regular season go-to scorers. I don't know if you heard my little spiel during the quick hits earlier. You can go back and check it out later. James Harden is a guy who consistently disappears. He's 2-9 as a starter. Since he's become a starter in the NBA, he's 2-9 in elimination games in the playoffs. The dude doesn't show up. He just doesn't. So now to that point, this is in response to Bruce talking about people don't deserve to be paid is absolute BS. James Harden doesn't deserve to be paid the way he wants to be paid Absolutely not. Legends are made in the postseason, and when you don't show up, you should not be paid like those guys. Plain and simple. You can argue that all you want, but you should not be paid like those guys. Like, that's all there is to it. If you want to be paid on a certain level, play on a certain level. And the dude consistently flops in elimination games. That's all there is to it. So, I mean, feel how you want to feel, but if he doesn't get it done when he's supposed to get it done, so be it. You don't reward that. Chad B says in the playoffs, teams are adjusting and shutting him down. They need a better player to take the pressure off, in my opinion. Cool. That's fine. And that's fine. But then we want to call this guy, a top 10 shooting guard of all time. Or we want to say this guy should be getting super max deals and all that. No. Legends are made in the postseason. You don't do it, so be it. Tim Jones says, nobody cares that you dominate the regular season if you continually choke in closeout games. Correct. That's where it matters. Edward, you sound like the commentator that was crashing out on James Harden last night. Yo, I tried to find out if it was true that he got fired for that commentary. I couldn't find anything on it. Remind me, Edward, and I'm gonna keep digging. I'll probably forget, but remind me, and I'm gonna keep digging, try to find out who that guy is and whether or not he actually got fired for it. I tried to look it up before the show started. But yeah, I mean, here's the deal though. Edward, was that commentator lying? Did that commentator say anything about James Harden that was untrue? At the end of the day, we got to stop this foolishness of because we dislike what somebody's saying, it's a problem. At the end of the day, the fact is what they're saying true or is it not? All right. So yeah, man, Harden, just a total disappointment. Does not deserve another mega contract. If you want to give him some more money, give him some more money, but he don't deserve another big contract because you're not going to get return on your investment, plain and simple. But yeah, man, Clippers rolled over. It was disgusting. It was pathetic, and I don't even know what else to say. So we're going to go ahead. G, you got anything else before I open this up real quick?
I don't have anything.
All right. Y'all know what time it is. We'll take 2 calls on this, and then we will move on to the next topic, which I think we'll have some fun with. Edward, yes, he played as a point guard, but James Harden is not a true point guard. You also need his scoring. And if he's 2 of 8 with 7 points in an elimination game, that means that he didn't even try to compete and he didn't try to contribute in that important part of the game. Chief, what's going on, my man? What you got?
What's going on, brother?
Good morning.
What'd you say, Bruce?
Oh, I said good morning.
Oh, good morning. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know what? I do get a slight bit of joy that the Clippers lose. So,
as a Lakers fan, you would.
As a Lakers fan, yes. And by the way, Gino, I gave you a super chat. You were right. I have to admit, you were right about the Lakers, G.
Yeah, he threw up a $5 super chat yesterday.
You spot on. Although I didn't know JJ Redick wouldn't go play a center. It made Rudy Gobert look like Wilt Chamberlain, but other than that. But on this topic, I could tell you Denver coach David Adelman, I think he's been in the game a long time. His dad is Rick Adelman.
Yeah.
So he and I remember his dad when he was coaching in Portland and Sacramento.
Yep.
So he has a pretty good pedigree. So he really started coaching in about 2011 with the T-Wolves. And he's been with Denver about 8 years.
Right.
So I think he was familiar with everything. He knew everything. He had them prepared. And I love Ty Lue. I love me some Ty Lue, but Ty Lue can't get back out there and play no more. Those guys have to play and step up. But the Clippers are simply the Clippers. That's just who the Clippers are. And then James Harden, my boy, been missing since the playoffs since Houston days.
Yo.
He ain't showed up no more since then. He didn't show up in Philadelphia. He didn't show up in Brooklyn. And so I don't even want to get started on James Harden. My blood pressure go up this morning.
Yeah, we don't need that, Chief. We don't need that.
But I tell you what though, I know Eddie probably gonna call and say it's the second coming of Jokic. that did it to him. So I'm keeping it short. Anything to add, G?
Oh no. I think I thought Jokic had a quiet night, man. Like I didn't see a lot of game changing. Like with his pass, I think he beat him with his pass, but I didn't really see like the dominant scoring there. I mean, I don't even know what he finished with, but he did a really good job of facilitating the ball to the open player. I thought that was one of the big key reasons why they was able to take that win. And Kawhi was he looked gassed, man. Like he looked like he should have played those 46 games he missed. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
It's gonna be a hard summer in LA this year, G.
Yeah.
Hard summer.
Quick point on the Nuggets. They had 6 guys in double figures and a 7th guy with 9. So I don't know how you beat a team when they're playing like that.
Yeah.
The Clippers or the Nuggets?
The Nuggets, apologies. The Nuggets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Beat a team when they're playing like that.
Yeah, but I know Eddie E-Dog gonna have something to say. I know he is. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, fellas.
All right. Thanks for the call, Chief. Appreciate you.
All right.
Sir.
Chad B, but here's the deal, right? Harden, same as Barkley, Iverson, Stockton, Malone. Harden didn't win. No, he's not the same as those guys because those guys showed up in these pivotal moments, right? It's not so much that they didn't win, is that he doesn't show up in these moments. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's not that there's a lot of all-time greats that didn't win, but you can't say they didn't show up. Dominique Wilkins didn't win. He never made an Eastern Conference Finals, but he always showed up. Charles Barkley, he made the NBA Finals, but he showed up, right? He showed up. It's just that he got beat by the greatest to ever do it. Allen Iverson, he made the NBA Finals. He showed up. You can't say that he didn't show up. Stockton, Malone, you can't say those guys didn't show up. You can say that about James Harden. That's the difference. All right, we'll take one more call, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
I think if you got more turnovers than made field goals and you're a scorer, I mean that says it all.
Great point, G. Fantastic point. No Barkley didn't what, Chad B? No Barkley didn't what? Didn't show up? Yeah, I want to hear that.
They definitely suited up.
Let's see. So I didn't expect Barkley to come up, so I didn't research his elimination game numbers, but I know that Barkley averaged 27 and 13, 5.5 assists, 48% from the floor in the NBA Finals against Michael Jordan. Like that wins you Finals MVP any other time, right? But you got the GOAT averaging 41 in that series. What you supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you gonna do there? You know, that gets you Finals MVP damn near any other time. So like, I don't know how we say that Barkley didn't show up, but I mean, it is what it is. All right. Looks like we don't have any more calls on this, so we will go to the next topic. Gee, we're gonna have some fun here. We're gonna have some fun here because I'm sure you will have some interesting commentary on this. I know you are not a Tatum guy, but so we saw Ant Edwards. So okay, let me back up. There's been this whole thing about who's going to be the next face of the league. Obviously, LeBron's on the way out, Steph's on the way out, KD's on the way out. KD was never face of the league anyway, but it's been back and forth, kind of LeBron and Steph, right? I think they've kind of shared that, leaning towards LeBron. But there's been kind of the thing, all these guys are getting old. Who's the next guy? A lot of people wanted to be Ant Edwards. Ant Edwards has made it clear, like, listen, I don't have any interest in being the face of the league, blah, blah, blah. So now you got an interesting situation based on what we're seeing for how he's played over the last 5 years, and especially in this playoff run so far. We are now seeing more of a groundswell for Jayson Tatum to become the face of the league. And I know my guy Edward wants so very badly, for whatever reason, Jayson Tatum to be the face of the league. Now, let me say this. Me personally, I don't care at all whether or not Jayson Tatum is the face of the league. I just want him to ball out and bring me another chip. I'm more concerned on where he ends up ranking in the hierarchy of all-time great Celtics. Why? Because when you rank high in the hierarchy of all-time great Celtics, it's going to boost you up there in the hierarchy of the all-time NBA greats. Now, with all that said, Jayson Tatum's now a champion, multi-time, I think 5-time Eastern Conference Finals participant. He is, let's see, I want to say first team All-NBA. I got this thing up right here. So first team All-NBA the last 3 seasons, and he'll make it again this year. He's been top 6 MVP guy in the last 3 years. He'll make that again this year. He's averaging on the regular season 27, 8, and 6. He is clearly the leader of that team on and off the floor. He's doing his thing. So a lot of people want him to be the face of the league. We're hearing, again, more of a groundswell because he's a guy who there's no drama off the court with him, no trouble. All you see him is with his kids, and then you see him go out there and ball. But he's also not a particularly aggressive guy. He's also not a guy that particularly moves the needle in terms of excitement and all that, but he just goes out there and does the work. So now the question for you, G, is try to be objective here. Do you feel like Tatum is really starting to move the needle in terms of the way people in the NBA world, media and fans, are viewing him?
Could you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah. Do you think that Tatum is starting to move the needle in terms of the NBA world, both media and fans, in terms of how he is viewed?
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I think people such as myself are starting to look at him as a premier player, a star. I still wouldn't give him a superstar, but he's a star in the league. And but I mean, the face of the league, that is a reach. Like
Yeah, I
back in
agree.
the day, you had to earn that, man. Like nobody would say, "Oh yeah, you are now the face of the league," But now I guess they do a whole lot of analytics and say that,
Yeah,
well, this player is, he bringing in this amount of money, and
yeah.
there's social media aspect to it. But the way I look at it is like, he's a 3 in the East,
Mm-hmm.
and the East has been known for some time as having lackluster competition.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
look at the route to the finals last year compared to the West. That wasn't anything that the Celtics could control, but
Mhm.
it was
Mhm.
almost like a layup. It's like everybody got hurt, or they was broken,
Yeah.
or they was not playing,
Yeah.
and y'all just walk right in,
Facts.
which gave y'all fresh legs. But if you look on the other side, the kid Ant and them, they had to, man, it was a gauntlet over there. Like
Yeah.
every game was like watching the finals, you
Yeah.
know. This year I think is a little like since New York has been playing really well, Orlando was playing really well, the Cavs, right? Like the Cavs is playing really, really well. Um, I wouldn't get too caught up in the face of the league stuff though. Because at
Agreed.
the end of the day, you still got to suit up and play every man. They all professionals. Um, and so hopefully they come. I mean, unless we are using talent as our measuring stick for
Mhm.
face of the league. I don't know what that all entails. If it's social media presence has anything to do with that, or is it just overall stats?
Mhm.
But man, your Celtics, man, they put together a really good team last year. I mean, you got a 7-3 guy that can shoot the ball from everywhere. I mean,
Mhm.
there's matchup problems to the average teams, man. Like the average teams in the West would have problems matching up with you guys.
Mhm.
Just because. Is Al Horford still on your team?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And he's still playing
Yeah.
well.
So
He 137 years old.
yeah. I mean, y'all well coached. Y'all got the personnel to do a lot of things. I think Tatum. I wouldn't say one person. Anybody on that team can give you the blues, man. Now,
Yeah.
what I do look forward to seeing is the New York Celtics series that's coming up.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait. I think that's going to be a good test for both teams. The
Yes.
first real test, I think, for both
Celtics.
teams. I mean, say it again.
Celtics in 6.
Celtics and six. You calling it?
Yeah. Easy work. Celtics in 6. I mean, it could be 5 if they stay
I
focused,
mean,
but I'm going 6. Yeah.
okay, all right. But yeah, man, Tatum is definitely moving the needle as and getting the respect that he deserved. Him and his bench brother. Um, I think they both stepped up this game,
Yeah.
and trying to make a better name for themselves.
Yeah. No doubt. I agree. So this was
Yeah.
interesting what Woodage said. Tatum reminds me of Dr. J in terms of class act off the court, which makes him great ambassador for the league. Yes, but I think the difference is Dr. J, while being a class act off the court, he couldn't have been that if he wasn't such an incredibly dynamic player on it, like doing things that we had never seen prior to that, right? We can't say that about Tatum. As good as he is, he's not nearly as dynamic on the floor as a Dr. J was. So I think that's one of the big differences. Bruce says Tatum and Brandon Ingram, the same guy. Like the disrespect, like that is. So we'll move right along.
Sheesh.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
man.
disrespectful. Chad B says if the Celtics win this year, they're setting themselves up to be one of the top 3 teams ever. No, absolutely not. They're not one of the top 3 Celtics teams ever if they win this year. Furthermore, one of the top 3 teams ever. And G knows me. I'm die hard. I bleed green, but I can't allow that. That's insane. No. We can't do that. Let's see. Tatum joining the Celtics has made multiple Eastern Conference Finals, few NBA Finals, winning a title, a chance to repeat. Yeah, he has. Absolutely. It's just so interesting. I really don't understand why there's this push to name someone, like G said, the face of the league. Like, why this push? Whoever it is, it will organically happen. Like, I understand from the league standpoint because they see LeBron is on his last legs. No disrespect to LeBron, right? But I mean, he is 40. At some point, you have to move forward and develop that next guy. I get it. Steph is up there. KD, again, he was never that guy. But the two, biggest faces in terms of the league, these guys are all older, right? So I get it, but you have to let this thing happen and play out organically. You can't. He's trying to push my buttons. I'm gonna ignore that. You can't force it on somebody to be the face of the league, right? And Edwards probably could be it, but he doesn't want to be it, so you can't make him that. If he doesn't want to be it, you can't make him that. That's what it is at the end of the day. Let's see. Reason why the 80s and 90s so popular is because they had so many popular players who the NBA knew how to market. They don't have that today. True indeed, which is crazy because with social media, to G's point, it's so much easier to market players and for players to market themselves. So all you have to do is really you got to just do the math on that. And if said player who has a mega social media following can play, then that's who you put the push behind that, right? Yeah, Chad B, you're 100% right. But yeah, I think Jayson Tatum I don't think that he's got the face of the league thing, but I do think that if he wins back-to-back chips this year, and I think that as long as he doesn't crap the bed, if they go to the finals and the Celtics win again, he's going to be finals MVP. And now you're really going to start hearing the rumbling. And again, that starts to push him. That pushes him. While I don't think he's the better player, having 2 championships is going to push him past Paul Pierce on that Celtics list, right? Because at the end of the day, Celtics are like the Lakers, right? Championships are what matter, rings, right? And so when you start looking at that, you start saying, okay, now where does it all line up? Where is he in terms of the league? Where is he in terms of how people view it? And so I guess at the end of the day, we got to sit back and see, what is happening in terms of winning if he wins another title, and then in terms of if he wins another title, how did he play, right? Because again, I believe that if they go back to back, he's going to be the finals MVP this year. But again, it's been one round in the playoffs so far. He averaged 31, 11, and 5, which is like he did his work. I think he had 3 35-point games in that series. So he did his work. So we're gonna see. Coach Tibbs is a monster defensively. We're gonna see what he can throw at him. the Knicks have a lot of 3-and-D guys, a lot of really good defensive wing type players. So they're going to be able to throw a lot of different things at Tatum. But the key is now the Celtics are a team, as we know, like G said, they're well constructed and they can burn you from a lot of places, right? Al Horford can go off and give you 21 game, right? Now, you're not going to expect 20 every night, but he can do that. Porzingis can give you 20, 25. Derek White, we've seen he could give you 40. Peyton Pritchard could come off the bench and go nuclear. He can give you 40, 30. Now, I don't anticipate that in a playoff game, but we know Tatum could give you 30. We know Jaylen Brown, Mr. Brown. What can Brown do for you? We know he can give you 30, right? So you got guys who can attack you from all different angles, and that makes it really tough defensively to zero in or key in on one guy. So very, very interesting. Very interesting. Man, but yeah, Tatum, I think Tatum is doing work. I love what I'm seeing from him, and he's got to continue. And I'll say this, Tatum is so valuable to the Celtics because not only is he expected to do this work, rebound and score and pass, he's also expected to defend. And a lot of star players on a lot of teams aren't expected to defend the same way when they're the guy on that team in terms of putting the ball in the bucket. Why are you shaking your head? What you got?
It's an outrage, man. This Tatum glazing session is crazy right now. I think,
Not.
I think he's not really like the best player on his team, but he is a good player. But
I don't think.
God damn, bro.
No, I don't think there's a question now that he's the best player on his team. Yeah, I don't think there's a question about that. Now, does that mean Jaylen Brown is not a beast? Jaylen Brown is a beast. But does that?
But,
yeah.
But I mean, like it goes back to the whole Brunson thing, man. Like,
Mhm.
how many dominant threes are in the league right now? I mean, you won against Orlando, a good team, right? Don't get me wrong,
That's
a
a
good
top
up
10
and coming
defensive
team that's
team in the
young,
league.
huh?
That's a top 10 defensive team in the league.
Top 10 defensive team. They still young. You still need offense. Still need
Mhm.
offense. Still need
Mhm.
offense. And yeah, man, like I don't think they outside of winning the chip last year, I don't
Uh-huh.
really think they did enough to have their own topic. But this is your show. I don't think Tatum did enough yet. I could see Anthony Edwards having a 2-day topic because
As
even though he doesn't want the league to be he doesn't want to be the face of the league. It looked like the NBA is just posting him on there because of his content, right? Not
yeah,
only is he kicking ass, he talking shit the whole time. Like I
yeah.
haven't heard one sound bite from this dude. Not saying there's nothing wrong with being a Tim
I
Duncan,
got you.
but yeah, but how do you be the face of the league if you ain't got no smoke with nobody? You just out there pulling James Harden stats.
I agree. Right? Remember, I've
That's all.
always been the one with you saying that Tatum should not be the face of the league. I don't care if he is. He doesn't need to be. All he needs to do is go out there and ball and win. Like I'm just
He set the
talking about
bench.
it's
He set
something.
the bench. He should have some level of chip on his shoulder. He set the bench. Shouldn't be a
Well,
nice guy out
I
here.
think we're seeing the chip, right? I think we're seeing the chip with the way he's played all year. So I mean, again, we're gonna watch this Knicks Celtics series. I think that starts tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Missoula is able to come up with, and not just Missoula, what Missoula and Sam Cassell and the rest of that coaching staff. Shout out Sam Cassell. He needs to be a head coach next year. You know what? If I'm the Nuggets, I hire Sam Cassell. Boom. There you go. Sam Cassell needs to be a head coach next year. He's so good, man. He's so good. But yeah, so we'll see what Tibbs does defensively, and then how the Celtics respond with their offense. So, all right, let's do it. Let's go ahead. Let's open up the phone line and see what we got.
Who do you think will match up against him in this
Tatum?
series?
It'd probably
Tatum,
start out OG Anunoby. Probably be him.
Okay.
OG Anunoby and Josh Hart. I think those are the two matchups that you know.
Yeah, we're gonna examine that. Talk about those. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Edward, what's going on, brother?
Man, this panel, man. I'm getting mad crazy right now. How mad crazy. Hey, Bruce, you know that part on Belly when the young kids they was in the basement? They was trying to get him, got arrested there when he told DMX he sound mad crazy right now with all that. This how I'm acting right now when y'all talk about JT Bruce.
Yes, Edward. I knew you were gonna call on this. I knew you were. What's up?
Yes, yes. You already knew I was,
I knew
Bruce.
you were.
I could have got. Okay, look. Let's just call it what it is,
Okay.
man. Jayson Tatum game is boring to most people.
Mm-hmm.
He's boring. I mean, how can we say a guy that's 22, 23 years old, the only thing he did was put out his favorite player, Jokic, and LeBron and Luka. That's all he did. But when Jayson Tatum,
Mm-hmm.
got, ever since he came to the league, he always been to the Eastern Conference. He's been in the playoffs. He's been I think he got 4 All NBA. He made NBA teams, and I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? So this sounds mad crazy, bro. He can't beat. But hey, if anybody on this chat, man, that does sports bets, take the over on points because he shows up and shows out when he plays against the Knicks.
I think
So,
everybody does, man, because playing against the Knicks that's New York City, right? That's the media market of the United States and arguably the media market of the world. So when you have that, like all eyes are going to be on you when you're playing against the Knicks, when you're playing in Madison Square Garden. Remember, Paul Pierce used to go off in Madison Square Garden. It's one of those things. Let me ask you this, Edward. And
Bruce, your phone, you sound a little bit low. You going in and out, man.
My bad, man. I don't know what's going on with that. Let me ask you this, Edward. Can you hear me?
Man, a little bit.
Okay. All right. Pay attention. Let me ask you. When it comes to Tatum, why is it so important to you that he's face of the league? I've asked you this before. I don't know if I've never ever really gotten
why. Okay, so you
answer.
say you asked me why is it so important
to you?
Because I just gave you his accomplishments, his accolades. I gave you all that compared to a guy who only just put out his favorite player in the playoffs and Denver Nuggets and the Lakers. But we want to give this guy the face of the league because he has that swagger and everything. I mean, come on, man. Like, mad crazy. It's just mad crazy.
But
mad crazy.
I think there's more to it than just being a great player. You got to have the quote unquote total package. Pause. You know, you got to have all of that. It's not just, okay, you're a great player, or it's not just you got the swag. Like, you have to have everything in order to be that and have that position. It's one of those things. And like we were saying earlier, it's not something you can bestow on somebody. It's something that kind of has to find you because you're that guy.
Yeah, the kid 23. What are you, 23 years old?
Ant?
He's 22. Yeah. I think he's 22.
He's only 22? Wow. Okay.
22 years old.
Damn.
Yeah, that's I think that's
he's
an accomplishment for a 22-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah, and Jayson Tatum had that too at 22, but apparently, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't his game doesn't stick out, man. He's, like I said, man, he's just boring. You know, I mean, he's boring like a Tim Duncan, which is mad crazy. It's mad crazy right now.
But isn't that a fair analogy though? Like, if you're boring, how can they market you the same way? Like, Tim Duncan was dominant, true indeed, but I mean, he was not exciting.
So, okay, but
yeah,
Jayson Tatum has the commercials. He has all that, though. I mean, what's going on here? What's going on?
So here's my thing from a basketball.
Celtics is a better team.
The glazing is showing. The glazing is out. I mean, hey, straight. Yeah, I'm glazing. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I can see that. but Edward, no, real talk though, because for me, right, again, as a diehard Celtics fan since I was in freaking grade school, watching Jayson Tatum out from a basketball standpoint, his game, the fact that he bails out the defense so often with bad threes or just settles when there's very few people in this league defensively who can stay in front of him, that's boring to me. That's annoying to me. He has all the ability. Yeah, go ahead.
Bro, but Bruce, Ant-Man shoot more threes than him. Look what he did against the Lakers.
I got you. But check this, right? So Jayson Tatum shot 34% from three this year. I believe Ant-Man shot 43% from three this year, and he's not known as a shooter, right? So yeah, he shoots a ton of threes, but he's knocking them things down, right? Tatum, I don't know. Shot selection needs work. Regardless of any of that, man, Tatum could ball. Tatum is an elite baller in this league. He's going to be first team All NBA again.
Again.
That's fine.
That makes it 5. That's 5. I'm glad you brought that up.
And that's fine. but he doesn't. No, it's 4. Is it 4? I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, is he leading his team?
Regardless,
He's leading his team in points, rebounds, and assists. You do know that, right?
You don't have to tell me how great Tatum is. All I'm trying to tell you is face of the league doesn't matter. Just bring me chips. As a Celtics
I know that
fan,
doesn't matter, Bruce.
Chips.
Bruce, I know that doesn't matter to you, brother.
That's
I know
right.
it doesn't matter.
That's
Man,
right.
it matters to me and Jay Will. You know when I sent you what Jay Will said, bro. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Come on. Even Stephen A's face was dropped when he told him that. I mean, come on.
Whatever.
Sounds mad crazy.
All right,
but
man.
that's all I got, though, man. Hey,
No
of course, you know what I'm saying. Hey, he's gonna show up. I'm going over on points for Jayson Tatum when he plays the Knicks because he always show up and show out against the Knicks.
All right, man. Well, look, man, you be you, man.
Nah, Bruce, you be you, man.
All right,
All right, brother. Water.
That's my guy, Edward. Edward hits me with stuff like daily about Tatum and why he should be the face of the league. Crazy. All right. We'll take one more call. We'll wait another minute, take one more call on this Tatum topic, and then we'll talk about Coach Pop and we'll get up out of here. But yeah, I don't think it's important at all that Tatum be the face of the league. I don't think he needs to be. I think he needs to just focus on winning as much as he possibly can, because that's where history remembers at the end of the day.
I think more people watch this show than you think, man. And I think a lot of the ideas and stuff, things we say about these players are starting to be heard, man. We told him to shut the fuck, excuse my language, shut the hell up about Kobe and just play basketball.
That's right. We sure did.
If it's supposed to happen, it's gonna happen, right? Like just play the game, man. Like I think it's more entertaining when you talk a little shit. That's more stuff that ballers can kind of like. Now you're bringing a different aspect of the game into it. Like you bring a psychological effect into it. When you start talking shit to a player. You know what I mean? Like that means it, like it don't matter what you do after I say what I got to say, I'm gonna be here for it. But we don't really see a whole lot of that chippiness. And that takes one dynamic away from the game. You could talk a motherfucker out their game all day long. You've seen the psychological effect Mike had on everybody.
Absolutely.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of those things that we used to seeing, and that's why that's one of the reasons of many that I think that people excel at over Tatum in some of these conversations.
Fair enough. I
don't care. I don't care. To me, I just want good game, good basketball.
That's
we can have some, FUs here and there, but just don't go out like the Clippers, man. Like
facts.
What, spinal.
Bruce, what up, man? How you doing, brother?
All right, that's what's up. Hey, man. Jayson Tatum, Brandon Ingram, man. That's all I hear. Him and B.I. one of them same. If B.I. stay healthy, had that same green light, Tatum, it'll be the same thing. But Tatum's stoic nature, it hurts him because he's not, how can I say, animated like an ant. Imagine if Tatum had the same energy like a Westbrook at the, Tatum he's so laid back.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just face of the league. Well, I can't tell. I see him on a lot of commercials, so they pushing it for him silently. I don't know, man. It's something about Tatum that's missing. I just think his personality. He's not. How can I say? Exuberant.
Yes.
I don't know. Michael Jordan was exuberant either, so I don't know.
Not according to players.
But if you put up big numbers in the playoffs, though, I don't know, man. I mean, is he a pretty pause? I just think he a pretty boy, yo. He don't make no noise, yo. That's what it is, yo, Bruce.
Listen, I don't disagree with any of
he
that.
He just be talking about Kobe all the time.
Well, I don't think we haven't heard that all year, so that continues, right?
Oh, Kobe Glazer.
Yes.
Something's missing because why would I don't mean to go back to the Olympics. What was I'm just saying, like you got it's a timeline. Like, what is it? It's they gave Jaylen Brown the Finals MVP. Do y'all think he deserved that over Tatum?
I think it could have been either one of them. I think
it could have been either way. It didn't play much at all in the Olympics. What is it that's missing that Steve Kerr didn't see? something that wasn't that. I don't mean to go back into the Olympics. I'm just saying it was a reason Steve Kerr didn't play him. Is it because LeBron and Kevin Durant was in front of him?
That's what I think. That's what I think.
But then they played Derek White. So what that goes to say? Derek White. I think Derek White is better than Tatum overall.
I don't.
On both sides of the ball.
My argument for Derek White is definitely not. But my argument for him playing Derek White was always simple to me that Derek White is going to do all the little things and doesn't need shots. So that type of guy, you can always find room on the floor for him. He'll clean up the trash where he can, but you don't need to run anything for him. You can't say that about KD. The ball has to be in LeBron's hands. If Tatum is on the floor, you gotta run something for him. Derek White, you don't have to. And so I think, to me, that was the simplest explanation for why Derek White got more minutes than Tatum did.
So let me ask you this, Bruce: do you consider Tatum a superstar or just a star?
That's tough, man. I think I consider him
can't go from riding a pine.
Yeah, but
can't go from riding a pine in the Olympics to
on this
face of the league.
Like he just come on, man. This dude is the number 3 rated player.
Nepotism or something.
He's the number 3 rated player coming out of high school. Went to Duke, got busy, came in the league. Second year in the league, he's in the Eastern Conference Finals, booming on Bron, and he's been a starter his entire career. Like, we got to stop this whole riding the pine narrative. That's ridiculous.
Maybe it's LeBron's fault he was riding the pitch.
It was LeBron. Yeah, I think it was too. Gee, you tough on Tatum, boy. I swear.
He is. But that's okay though.
Just logically, like honestly, fellas, like how do you go from riding the bench on the Olympics, international stage, to being the face of the league? Like, no, it doesn't work like that. Because if you're the face of the league, then you're gonna be the face of the country.
No, that's a great point, G. And I think I love how you frame that, because that's an outstanding point. I can't even argue it. I just think there were more politics involved in that, more so than he's riding the pine because he's a bum. I think there's a lot of politics there, but I wasn't there. I wasn't behind the scenes, so I can't say.
Hey, but check this out, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, G, is Ben Simmons still better than Jayson?
Yo, Bruce trying to push that button, man.
I go back and watch that live every now and then. That shit is so funny the way she trolled you that day, yo. You really fell for it, yo.
I did.
He knows me.
Yeah. Hey, Jayson Tatum's stoic nature hurts him. He just don't make no noise. And, well, hey, he's doing good off the court though. So hey, he ain't gotta say too much. You see his girl made a whole album about him. How much she love him.
Oh man,
Ella May. His wife is Ella May, the R&B singer. So I guess he ain't gotta say too much. Hey, he got the proof at home, right?
I guess so.
Let me say this: the Celtics got an easy path, man, in the East. Man, ain't nobody gonna check them. It's written for them to be back.
That Celtics Cavs series is gonna be tough, man.
This is Tatum.
Good.
This is Tatum of LeBron James run. Remember, LeBron ran the East for like 8 straight years. Something's ready, the same thing. I don't see nobody checking them for the next 4 or 5 years if they keep that squad together. Ever. So, so we all might as well just pencil Boston in already.
Nah, man. Nah. Cleveland is not going to roll over. That's a really, really good basketball team. But again, let's focus on.
Hey, I got Indiana knocking them off.
Wow. Okay, you on wax, bro?
Hey, listen, shout out to Houston Rockets, baby. Let's go. The young boy. Hey, remember you said that about Fred VanVleet? Like he wasn't worth nothing. We said that.
I was responding to how he was playing at that time, and he has shown that he pulled out the championship medal, and he's been balling. I got no problem saying that.
Remember I said about a month ago, Houston was going out or make it to the finals, and you talk about, no, they too young, they don't got enough.
I
okay.
I think they're too young and don't have enough.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, but now we're in Game 7, right? That game is tonight, right?
Absolutely. And Canelo looked like shit yesterday. I ain't like that. All those fights this weekend was trash. All of them.
Yeah.
Rolling, the ride was trash. Devin Haney was trash. And Teofimo a little bit. All that shit was whack.
Yeah.
It was no excitement. And Canelo and Bud get ready to fight September 12th. So that's what'll probably get ready to happen.
Yeah.
But all right, man. I'll catch up with y'all boys.
All right, Bruce. Thanks for the call, brother.
All right.
All right. Great call from Bruce. And let's get to the last topic, and then we'll let you guys get up out of here and enjoy your Sunday, man. All right. So we heard that
I like
legendary.
Riley fight too, Chad.
Say again.
I thought the Riley fight was real cool too. He did the same shit that Tank did to to uh to Ryan Garcia to stun him or knock him down. That first knockdown, he did the same thing verbatim. And I don't know if you seen that clip I sent you. He was practicing that combination right before the fight.
Okay. No, I didn't see that. I didn't see
Starting
that.
to see, yeah, I'm starting to see that more and more. Like, I guess that's their go-to combo based
Mm,
off of, I guess, the weakness, and they
hmm
just practice the shit over and over and over and over and over.
Gotta create the
Muscle
muscle memory,
memory.
right? Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. All right, y'all. So last topic here. Just wanted to take a few minutes. It's not going to be a long one, but wanted to take a few minutes to get G's thoughts and kind of talk a little bit. Legendary head coach Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs announced that he will be retiring from coaching and he will be moving to the front office. You know what? That's another good one too. Sam Cassell to the Spurs. Wow, that would be real good. Yeah, not mad at that. Anyway, we could discuss that later. But I think that I just want to take a moment to say like how great a coach Greg Popovich is and has been. I think he's easily one of the top 5 coaches of all time. Um, he's right there in my humble estimation with Pat Riley and Phil Jackson. I think he's been that good. So here's some stats, and then I'm going to give you my very unpopular opinion. He coached 2,263 career games. He won 1,422 career games. He's the winningest head coach in history. He lost 841 for a winning percentage 62.8. So we can leave that at 63. And he did all that with the Spurs from 96 to 2025. So again, most regular season wins by a coach in NBA history. Led the Spurs, this is crazy, to an NBA record 22 consecutive winning seasons. 18 straight 50-plus win seasons. Like, that doesn't even make sense. And 6 seasons with 60-plus wins. And, of course, 5-time champion, right? Playoff coaching stats, coached 284 career playoff games, won 170, lost 114 for a win percentage, 59.9%, 60%. Again, 22 consecutive playoff appearances, NBA record. Playoff wins, 170, third all time, behind the aforementioned Phil Jackson and Pat Riley. 5 NBA championships, tying him with Pat Riley and John Kundla. I don't know who that is. Who is that guy? I got to look him up. John Kundla for third most in NBA history. 5 NBA championships. 3-time coach of the year. Tied with Pat Riley and Don Nelson for the most in NBA history. NBA Coach of the Month 17 times, the most ever. Naismith Hall of Fame inductee. Red Auerbach Trophy 2014 for Coach of the Year. He also has a gold medal as head coach of USA Basketball. So all of this, to me, I'm going to get to it now. I believe Greg Popovich is a better head coach than Phil Jackson. I know a lot of people are going to say that's crazy. Phil Jackson has more than double the championships. I believe Coach Pop is a better coach than him. And the reason, okay. Thank you, Woodage. Okay, there we go. John Kundla was the coach of the Minneapolis Lakers with George Mikan. Thank you. I was going to look that up after the show, but thank you. I appreciate that. There we go. All right, so back to Coach Pop. I truly believe he's a better head coach than Phil Jackson. The reason why, Phil Jackson obviously had the benefit of coaching 3 top 10 players all time to those 11 championships, right? So 3 championships with Kobe and Shaq, 2 more championships with Kobe and Powell and the rest of those guys, and obviously 6 championships with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. That helps a whole lot. And my thing is this, as great a coach as Phil Jackson was, he did it running the same system for all 11 championships. Now, with Pop, I think that he was more diverse in the way that he could beat you, right? Obviously, he won early with the Twin Towers, David Robinson and Tim Duncan. And then he won just Tim Duncan inside out. And then he won developing with guard play, right? With Tim Duncan still being the defensive anchor, but then you see Manu and Tony Parker. Tony Parker becoming a finals MVP, Manu Ginobili being 6th man of the year. And then you see that last one, 2014, you see him winning utilizing the Euro style. Again, Tim Duncan still being defensive anchor, but utilizing the Euro style in terms of elite ball and player movement, extra pass, passing the ball, and dominating shooting the three, when he was a guy who never liked the three. So watching Coach Pop's ability to win one in across 3 decades, that's crazy, to win championships across 3 decades, and to be able to win in so many different ways. It's almost Belichickian in a basketball sense. Gee, man, what are your thoughts with what I said? One, about Popovich's numbers, and then two, about him being a better coach than Phil Jackson, despite having less than half the amount of championships.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, man, congratulations on Coach Pop. I think
Yeah.
I think he was the player, the players' coach, right? He was the coach that the players
Yeah.
want. I remember
Yeah.
hearing stories about how a coach might lose their pop or something. He say, "Hey, look, I'm gonna stay
Yeah.
here as long as you need me to stay here."
Mhm.
And just being that person that players can kind of like look forward to. His tenure there showed that winning is winning, but it's bigger than basketball. And
Yeah.
I think that was his mantra, right? He could have won so many more rings if he
Mhm.
would have probably changed the way he coached, but he didn't. He stuck with his guns, and now he moved to the front office.
Mhm.
But as far as him being a better coach than Phil,
Mhm.
I don't think I can agree with you on that one.
Okay.
I think they two different coaching styles, right? One was like strictly business, whereas though the other one was like it was more like a family with Pop, from my understanding. Whereas though
Yeah.
with Phil it was more so like a theme. You hear about themes and structure and like, that triangle offense. We
Mhm.
didn't really get that from Pop. I mean,
Right.
uh, yeah, I can't really point to one thing that I would say Pop did really, really well when it came to coaching, except for managing his personnel and making
Mhm.
sure he get the best out of him. That system that Phil had, not and I don't want to dim Pop's lights
No,
talking about
I get
Phil, but I
it.
just
Mhm.
think they on two different. It's just two different coaching styles. Doesn't mean one is better than the other. It's just two different coaching
Mhm.
styles.
Right.
One was really for the win. The other one was, for family. It was like a family band with Coach Pop, from what I heard the players say.
Mhm. No, those are all great points, G. And again, this is not at all for me trying to take a shot at Phil, because I don't, I would be foolish to do that as well, right? Same way you're saying you're not
Yeah,
trying to Coach Pop's light. Not trying to dim Phil's light. I just think the difference for me in terms of the Phil piece is that Phil could only win one way, and with those elite of the elite of the elite players in NBA history, right? And
yeah,
meanwhile, I think Pop showed his versatility as a coach to be able to change and win along with the way the league was changing. Like, to me, that stands out so much in terms of what he was able to do and why I think he was so amazing. Um,
yeah. He was a life coach, right? Not
yeah,
just a
yeah,
basketball coach.
great point. Yeah, Robert Ory
Yeah,
talks about when, he was going through tough times with his daughter and everything. And he was saying, Coach Pop told him basically, hey, look, family first, stay with your family as long as you need to. And then when you're ready to come back, we're here. So Ori
yeah,
talks about that. And, obviously he's not the only player, as we well know, who talks about Coach Pop in that light, as you mentioned. And so I think that's huge. Just to kind of be a little bit objective and fair and talk the other side, I heard Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington on the Odd Couple the other night. They were discussing, and Rob Parker says that for all the great things that Coach Pop has done, the thing that stands out to him most, and it's a black eye on the league, and I think he's right, is that he introduced load management. And we would be remiss and disingenuous if we didn't bring that up. Because remember, I think they had a national TV game against Miami, and they had just played like back to back, and the team was older. And Pop sent Manu, Timmy, and Tony all home and played that game without him. He's like, "Yo, my guys are older. Nah, we're not doing this. Back to back to back, or whatever it was. My guys need a break." So he sent them all home, and people were up in arms because that was a national TV game, and his stars weren't there. And so that was the beginning of load management. And Pop and the Spurs medical team, they did do load management correctly, because why? Um, at that point that they introduced it, all their stars were getting old, right? They didn't do it like the way so many of these teams do it today, but they did it in the right way and they were able to continue to have success. So there's that. So we would be remiss if we didn't bring up, unfortunately, that Pop is the progenitor of load management, and that's been such a black eye on the league. So got to be fair.
I can't argue with you on that. I think there's a time and a place for everything, and he's always been a really good coach in my eyes. And so if he introduced it, it was for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole Kawhi thing too. Remember when Kawhi got
Yeah.
hurt?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was a big thing too.
Yeah, and
He
he
ended up suing him, right?
I don't know if he sued him. Maybe. Because I know that him, Pop, and then the Spurs medical team were thinking that he could have come back, and they were thinking that he was malingering or whatever. And then what do you call it? Tony Parker was like, yeah, I've had the same injury and I came back. And as we know, every player is different, and the pain tolerance is different. What their bodies are going through in terms of recovery is different. And now, as we've seen, Kawhi legitimately has real issues, So
Right.
yeah, tough spot to be in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he was running on stilts.
Right.
He definitely looked like he was running on plastic
Yeah.
knees and shit.
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, I think nobody's perfect, but I do think that I think that Pop has a legitimate argument for best NBA coach of all time. I really do. Pop, Pat Riley, Red Auerbach, and Phil Jackson. So, I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I do believe Pop is a better coach than Phil Jackson. But it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
You think he's a better coach than Pat Riley?
Man, that's tough. I do. Pat
I think
Riley,
they're
though.
both yours.
So the reason I think that, obviously, Pat Riley had the benefit of winning 4 championships with Magic, Worthy, and Kareem, right? That helps a whole lot. And then when he won his 5th one as a head coach, D Wade in his prime and Shaq just out of his prime, but still dominant, right? And then, of course, one of the best defenders ever coming off the bench in Alonzo Mourning, et cetera. So, and then, of course, he was able to, we talking about coaching. But yeah, I do think Pop is just a little better than those guys.
Yeah. Good for you to give him his flowers, man. I think you're gonna have a statue soon if you don't already have one. I don't know. I've never been to San Antonio.
Yeah, me either. But he's got
That's part of my next tour next year. After my 20, I get my 20. I'm going on tour. I'm going to visit all the arenas and watch at least one game.
That's what's up. That's cool, man.
It's not that many of them.
30? Yeah, it's 30. That's not bad. All right, well, let's go ahead and we'll take a couple calls to end out the show, and then we'll get out of here, man. All right, y'all know the deal, man. Give us your thoughts on Coach Pop. I'd love to hear what some of you have to say. Let's see. Got a comment here. Phil was smart enough to know how good of players he was dealing with. Dennis Rodman, Jordan, Pippen, and step back. I think Pop is a better classic coach. Agreed, Chad. So X's and O's and classic coach, yes. If we're talking about manager of people, I think that's where Phil, what did they call him? The Zen master. That's where Phil came in, right? Because as we know, like the triangle wasn't even his, right? That's Tex Winter's offense. But obviously, he learned it, he mastered it, he taught it to players. But I think that he was more so great in managing his players. Like when Kobe and Shaq were ready to kill each other, he was able to handle that, right? With Rodman and Jordan and Pippen, he was able to handle that. So I think you're 100% correct, Chad B. But yeah, when it comes to X's and O's and scheming and all that, yeah, I would say it's Coach Pop, definitely. Now, Riley might have edged him out, in my opinion, if he was able to win in New York, right? Because what really impressed me about Pat Riley, as we're on the topic of these all-time great coaches real quick, is that when he left the Lakers, right, being Showtime and running gun and all that, he went to New York and had a completely different type of team and was able to have a high level of success in a completely different way, with the ruggedness and the physicality and the defense in the Eastern Conference at that time. So that speaks to how good of a coach Pat Riley was and able to be adjust. And had he won a championship there, we'd have said, okay. Because imagine that. He would have had a championship with Showtime Lakers. He'd had a championship with the New York Knicks. And then he'd had a championship with the Miami Heat as a head coach. Like, that would have put him over the top for me. both over the top of Popovich, pause, and at the top, over the top when we're talking about Phil Jackson. So, yeah. And that's
he
no
didn't step down like Saban. You see, didn't step down like Saban.
Uh-oh.
I know.
No, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
At least he's just going into retirement, really. That's what's really happening. He's going into retirement.
Retiring from coaching. And I think maybe at his age, after having I think he had a stroke and all that, right? So it's probably, the physical burden of all the travel as a head coach. But being in the front office, he doesn't have to travel nearly as much. He doesn't have to travel if he doesn't want to, but he can still be around the organization and still be around basketball. So I think that's the big difference.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like we're not going to have any calls on this topic. So we are going to leave it right here, y'all, man. Thanks for everybody who tuned in. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe on the way out. Make sure you share this show. I appreciate all you guys. This has been, man, it's been smooth. It's been easy. Me and my man G, we make it happen.
Smooth.
All right, y'all. We out. Peace. Enjoy your Sunday.